So welcome to my second GloBUNTU suitcase video. You clicked on this video. Wow, I celebrate you for doing that. If you did, then it means that you watched my first video and you decided that you want to know more about GloBUNTU. And I'm very happy, very excited, and really very happy to tell you more about GloBUNTU and why I am convinced that it is something that is good for you and me, and that it can really help us shape our life in the way that we really want to be. It can take us from being ordinary into becoming extraordinary. And I tell you why. But before we get there, as you already know, I'm a storyteller and I like telling stories. I have to say welcome to my kitchen. You see, I'm working from my kitchen table. And if you listen to my TED Talk, you will understand that something happened in my life in the past a couple of months. I call it shit happened. Yes, I know this word is some kind of not really very aesthetic and not very good in our ears. But sometimes we have to really face some of those things and give them a name, give them a face to be able to deal with them appropriately once and for all. And so that happened. And I had to move back home with my office. And you can see I'm working from my kitchen. And if you ever worked from home, you will understand what a big challenge it is to work from your kitchen table when you have two teenage kids, and when at every one moment someone needs something from you, someone knocks at the door, when you have to take care of so many other things in the midst of having to concentrate on that thought, on writing that text, on doing that job, getting that job done, and you put in all you can to master everything and be as good as you are. If you ever did that, then you know what it means to juggle. Then you know what it means to be a working mom and to do some of these videos that I'm doing for you. So let's get very quickly back to our topic before I start telling you many more stories. But if you think that I was done with the stories, no, not yet. I got so many stories for you. I will tell you what GloBUNTU is about and why I think it is good for you and for me. But before we get there, I will need to tell you another story because you need to. I want you really to understand where I'm coming from and where I'm going to and where I'm taking you to with GloBUNTU. And to get there, I need to tell you another very short story. In my first video, I said that I was born and socialized in Cameroon. I spent the first 20 years of my life in Cameroon. So if you spend, no, the first 24 years, I spent the first 24 years of my life in Cameroon. So when that happens, it means that you are formed, you are educated, you have values, you have customs, you have traditions. And for the global world that we are today, you certainly bring so much on the table. You are a global player. And so I came in with that suitcase full of some of those values and some of those talents, including 5 languages. And when I got to Austria, what happened is that I did what many of us do when we leave from one culture to the next, when we move from one place to the next. I kept my suitcase aside and decided to take another suitcase. And this suitcase was a suitcase that someone had prepared for me. And that's the suitcase that is always prepared for those of us who are called immigrants. When you get into another environment, you are expected to integrate yourself into the culture. Could be at a workplace, could be in a new family, in a new relationship, in a new friendship, in a new neighborhood. When you come in, you bring a suitcase. And when you get there, it's up to you if you can unpack your suitcase or if you take a suitcase that is already there waiting for you. And so when I got here, I got my integration suitcase and I started, getting acquainted with that and trying to make myself believe that that was what was good for me. It was good for me and I had to accept it. And you accept it and you try to fit into that suitcase. And at one point in time, you just realize, oh no, this is not me. I'm not being who I was destined to be. I'm not being who I wanted to be. And I'm not being who others think that I should be. I'm not being who others expect me to be. And it just dawned on you that you just can't be, because for you, for me, it's not a question of either or. It's a question of as well as. If you've read some of my books, like they are all in German, by the way. Vielfalt statt Einfalt, which was published in 2011, and the Erfolgsfaktor kulturelle Vielfalt, you will get some of the things that I'm trying to talk to you about right now. So it's not a question of either or. And I got to that point where I had to find a lifestyle, I had to find a philosophy, I had to find a mindset system, I had to find something that was me. And me is not the Cameroonian woman who came with 24 to Austria. Me is not the black Austrian woman from Cameroon who has been living here for 20 years and working globally. Me is, both of them. And I just knew that I had to find that mindset system. I had to find that thing that enabled me to combine all of these identities, all of these backgrounds, and all the other identities that I mentioned in my first video. And I came across Ubuntu. I went looking and I came across Ubuntu. I had gotten used to all that is being done here. Some of the management strategies, the way of life, the language. I speak German all the time with my kids. You know what that means? But yet, my daughter keeps telling me, you don't speak good German. Don't blame me in public. Don't ruin me in public when you speak German. And so I had to come to that point where I decided I needed something that had both of my worlds. And so the first part that I got was Ubuntu. And I knew Ubuntu was not enough for me. I'm a global player. If you're a global player, you understand what I'm talking about. And believe me, a global player is someone who moves from one environment to the next. Could be for private reasons, could be for professional reasons, could be for for studies, could be for cultural reasons, could be just for leisure, could be for peacekeeping. We do this in so many situations, and I don't want to give you the full list of all of that. But if you're one of them, if you understand what I'm talking about, you just realize that you need to constantly find ways to integrate the system that you come into and the system that you bring along. Otherwise, you can't really be you. And this is why I went looking for Ubuntu. And when I found Ubuntu, I knew I grew up in Ubuntu, in an Ubuntu system. Is that ancient African philosophy that is translated in one word: I am because you are. And if you understand what that means, and I will explain that in another video, the philosophy of Ubuntu. What you need to know at this point is that I found Ubuntu. And I knew, yes, that's where I come from. But that's not where I am right now. And where I am right now were so many other things. We're global. I'm living in a global context. And so I had to take Ubuntu and build it up, combining it with my global experiences to come up with what I call GloBUNTU. When I got there, I knew I have birthed something that is going to be wonderful, something that answered my needs in all the identities that I mentioned, as a single mom, as an immigrant, as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as someone who is always moving. And when I when I came up with the name GloBUNTU Suitcase, it was just wonderful. I knew I found it. Because when you are moving, you constantly move with a suitcase. In fact, we come into the world with a suitcase, with our life suitcase. And we move from the state of being, in the belly, being that conceived baby, into the moment when we're born. And then when we're born, we are babies. Then we move to little children, we go to kindergarten, we go to school, we go to universities, we get into our first relationships, we get to we get our first jobs, we have our first breakout with our first boyfriend or girlfriend, we have children, we get divorced, we're constantly moving. And each time, this is what I'm trying to say, we take a suitcase with us. We take a suitcase with us from one point, one stage in our life to the next. We take a suitcase with us from one part of the world to the next. We take a suitcase with us from one relationship to the next. We take a suitcase with us from one workplace to the next. And that's what the suitcase is all about. It's something very symbolic in this way. And someone who is like me, who is constantly traveling, someone who is traveling for speaking for speaking engagements, someone who is traveling for conferences, someone who travels from Cameroon to Austria, or someone who is constantly inviting people to attend my conferences and see people come with their suitcases. They come and go with their suitcases. You just realize how important the suitcase is. And if you know, when you get to a point and you can't unpack your suitcase, if you can't unpack your suitcase, you just know that your journey is not complete. You just know that, you can't do the things that you want to do. And if you can't do the things that you want to do, you can't be the person that you really want to be. And believe me, if you can't be the person that you really want to be, you can't live the life that you want to have. And if you can't live the life that you want to have, you can't be a happy person. And our purpose in life, our ultimate purpose in life is to be happy. I think you will agree with me. What my purpose in life is to be happy in relationships, in my jobs, in my social environment, in my spirituality, in the things that I do. It's just being happy. And if you can unpack your suitcase at the right time and pack it in again in the right for the right place for your next journey, then you're definitely not going to be who you were meant to be. You will be ordinary, even when you know that you were born to be extraordinary. And I will tell you more about that in the next video. I think this one is long enough. And I just wanted to explain why the GloBUNTU cover, why the GloBUNTU suitcase cover, that's German. You see, I keep mixing up things. I just tell you, I can't be one. I can't be just one. I just have to be both. So when I make some of my English statement and you find German words inside, that's me. That's Beatrice. That's the GloBUNTU. That's not either or. It's as well as. And so I will see you in the next video if you're interested in knowing much more about GloBUNTU and how it works. And I will explain in which areas of your life you can use GloBUNTU to be able to really be that person that you were destined to be and not the person that people think you should be. I will tell you how I'm using it to not make anybody's opinion of me become my reality. And I will tell you how you can use it to face situations like fear. How you can use it to really redesign your life to get to where you want to be. You like it? Wonderful. I'm pleased. If you do, then make sure to share this video with your friends. I made a commitment to share GloBUNTU with you. And this is what I'm doing. And I beg you to also make a commitment. I challenge you to make a commitment to share this video with as many people as possible. And so join me in the next video. And then I will be telling you much more about GloBUNTU. This is my promise to you. You can also inbox me or visit me on my website, www.diversityleadership.eu, and then you'll find more information about my GloBUNTU activities, my seminars, my trainings, and workshops. And feel free to inbox me if you want to book me for a speaking engagement. I'm always very happy to deliver a speech. And so let me see you in the next video. Click on like if this video is good for you, and join me in the next video. I'm just getting down to preparing that video for you because I'm so excited to share this information with you, and I'm so happy to have you be part of my journey. And see you in the next video. Thank you and bye.